Hello, farmers, and welcome to another episode of The Harvest Season. My name is Raschelle.
My name is Al.
And I'm Micah.
And we're here today to talk about
Hello.
farming games.
Woo!
Woo!
I love farming games.
Me too.
Even though I've never farmed in my life.
I've done some basic gardening. I come from a farming family.
I used to own chickens.
What?
Does that count?
Yes? I didn't know you used to own chickens.
I mean, I personally didn't own them, but I worked at an outdoor sports center, and I was in charge of looking after the.
Oh, that sounds exciting. I have never had chickens, but I love them.
Me too. Hold on a second. Is this something I'm going to need to have explained to? Is this like a weird cultural thing? Why do you have a sports center with chickens?
Right, no,
That has
like
chickens?
It was like outdoor sports, right? Like kayaking and hill climbing.
What
and stuff
outdoor
like that,
sport
right?
includes chickens?
Well, no. So the chickens were just there as we want some chickens. They make eggs. I like eggs, right?
At the sports center?
Well, we didn't give the eggs that were from the chickens to customers. No, they were mainly for staff. I don't know. I didn't buy the chickens, right? I was just there looking after them.
Like,
Still fascinating to
I'm
me.
not mad. It's just weird. You basically just told me that your local pool also kept chickens just for funsies. Like, that's essentially what I just heard.
Yeah, the only comparison that I can draw to like local sports center is like a YMCA here.
Yeah.
Right. No.
And the idea that like a YMCA would have chickens that provides eggs to the workers is like
Oh my gosh, it's like the rec center in the city nearest to me where they keep all their supplies in a big barn, so it looks like they have a big barn full of cows or something, but it's not. It's just full of like sports gear. But what if they actually had chickens in there? Like, that's what I'm imagining.
I kind of love it.
Right. It is not. It's not like a local sports center, right? It's an outdoor sports center in the middle of nowhere where people go and stay for a week and do a bunch of outdoor sports like kayaking and golf.
Oh,
so it's
okay.
like
So maybe more
a
like
cabin.
a summer camp kind of thing.
And you have to bring
that sort
all
of
your
thing.
own food, but they provide the eggs because they just decided to have chickens.
No, it was catered. It wasn't self-catering.
I'm sorry, I can't handle this. Okay, sorry, was not expecting this morning.
And I worked on the maintenance team, and part of that was looking after the chickens, and so I got the authority of looking.
I love chicken.
I do too. This was a good story.
I love this. Thank you.
I can't believe I've never mentioned that before.
can't
A year and a
believe that
half on the
either.
farming game podcast.
Man, one day I'll fulfill my dream of owning chickens. Not this day.
Yeah, I don't have any room at my current house, sadly.
I think I could probably build a chicken coop in the backyard, but also I don't own this house. And if they don't renew my lease, I don't know what I'll do with my chickens. And also chickens are expensive, and I don't have time to take care of them. I actually don't know if chickens are expensive. How much to buy a chicken? I'm not looking up how much to buy a chicken. We're recording a podcast. Okay.
I don't even know where you'd buy chickens. Do Amazon sell chickens?
Yeah,
No, Amazon
hope
don't sell
not,
chickens.
I can't believe I resisted the urge to check on chicken prices, and you're just like, can I buy one off Amazon? There's a lot of farms here, Al.
Apparently, you can buy a baby chick for about £15.
Oh.
That's not very much.
No, it's really not. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I've ever like walked into like a pet store or anything and seen like, you know, like a PetSmart or a Petco and seen like chickens. I don't even know. I would just assume I would buy like just talk to someone who runs a farm and get them that way. But
Just like find someone down a dark alley.
the glory of living in like Wisconsin is that there's just there's farms everywhere outside of the actual city. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure if I tried hard enough, I could probably go and get a chicken today.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I know where a number of farms are very reasonably close to me. I could get a chicken if I really put my mind to it.
That's what we're going to do after the podcast.
Yeah.
You and I are going to go to our respective farms and find chickens.
Yeah.
Just a normal Saturday.
A normal Saturday afternoon. All right. So let's
chat.
Let's get this podcast over with so me and Micah can go buy chickens.
Yes.
Today, we're going to be telling everybody about the new Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town game. And then, how does order and time work? Okay, so we're just going to read this backwards in time. We're going to buy chickens, but before that, we're going to do Mineral Town. But before that, we're going to tell you some news. And before that, we're going to tell you what we've been playing. So, what's everyone been playing? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first because it's very short. Not very much. Despite the fact that I've been on holiday this week, I've played basically nothing. I played a bit of Friends of Mineral Town. I bought a lot of games. Does that count?
That's a big mood.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. That's about it. I need to play Oblitz at some point, but
oh my gosh.
Not done it yet.
You're not going to believe this. I literally have not even started or even opened up Ooblets at all. Haven't touched it. I've been so excited for this game.
I also have not.
And I haven't touched it at all.
Yeah, so we all own it, presumably, but none of us have played it yet.
Yes. I bought it on PC, and I almost kind of want to rebuy it on the Xbox so that I can, play it on my TV. I don't know why I typically don't buy PC games, but I guess I just wasn't aware that it was. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I think I was under the impression that there was more multiplayer ability with the game when that's absolutely not the case. So I thought, well, the friends that I probably would play it with are probably playing it on PC because I don't think I know anybody else that owns an Xbox One. But it turns out that there's no multiplayer. And so I kind of wish that I had just bought it on a console so that I can play it on a console.
I'm sorry, man. I don't have an Xbox, so I had.
It's not worth it.
You are not the only person to tell me that, and that's fine.
It's really not.
I'm not ever gonna get one. I gotta play that. Maybe I'll play that this weekend. Oh, I have so much to do. Micah, what have you been playing?
So I am very fond of a game called Deadly Premonition.
Yeah?
Which is extremely weird. It's kind of like a cult classic in that it's not very good. But it's also amazing. It was I don't know if you're familiar with the developer Swery65. He's Japanese developer with very quirky. He made The Missing, if you played that on the Switch. Okay. Also a very good game. But this was the first game that he made that really kind of took off, and they put it on the Switch. It's the definitive edition of it. But a sequel just came out a couple weeks ago, and it had been years since I played through the original, so I decided that I wanted to do that, and I forgot how long it was. So it was a very long, buggy, 20 hours of playing through this game.
Wow.
And then when it was done, I was like, I'm ready to play too. And then I just played Friends of Mineral Town, and that was it.
That's
otherwise Animal Crossing.
Always Animal Crossing.
Yeah. I have hit 810 hours in Animal Crossing.
Wow.
According to my Switch profile.
I wonder how much I've played Animal Crossing. We're not checking my Switch is dead. Okay.
It's a lot. I still play every day. I just do dailies. Just chop some wood, hit some rocks, talk to all my villagers, see what's in the shop, and like that's pretty much it.
That sounds about right.
That's kind of the rotation.
Experience eternal distress over the fact that a third of your island has been consumed without flowers with zero intervention by you. Or is that just me?
No. Are you okay?
I'm not exaggerating. It's a literal third of my entire island. Completely covered in flowers. It's so frustrating. The flower spawn rate in this game, through the roof.
It's really a lot.
It's a lot, and I still don't even have a blue rose. So,
oh no,
I'll get there. I'm not in a rush.
I can tell you, Raschelle, because of course the Switch shares what your friends have played, that you have 495 hours logged.
That doesn't sound right, and I know why. It's because I have multiple people on my island. I made different Switch accounts, and I have multiple people, and I play on all of them. So
your main profile has 495. The one I am friends with.
Yeah, perfect. Maybe next episode I'm on, I'll tell you how long Nurse Joy's been playing. So,
it's so much though. Like multiple hundreds of hours in any game is like unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I've had 190 hours, which is low for this conversation, very high for me.
But if this was any other game...
I think maybe the only thing that would beat it that I've played, it would be Breath of the Wild.
Oh, sure.
Which I think was over 200 somewhere.
I think I played Breath of the Wild for more than 100 hours, and I think at least 100 of those hours I was just wandering around, like, hunting and cooking and literally doing nothing else. So...
Yeah.
That's the Breath of the Wild experience.
Yeah. Perfect. You still playing Animal Crossing every day, Al?
No.
How did I know?
I mean, I get back into it every so often for a couple days, and then I go play something else.
And you know what?
Yeah, I don't think
fine.
you're surprised by this at all, are you?
No, not in the least. Even I have taken a break from Animal Crossing for a couple days here and there. But I mostly play Animal Crossing. I've played a lot of Mineral Town. So much I feel like I've played at least half of a year twice. And I have. That's a story. I haven't had a lot of time to play many other games. I've been playing a lot of Zombies Run. For all my listeners who care about Zombies Run, there's Zombies Run 9 is out. They kind of do seasons every year where they release different things, and usually it comes with the release of a new season of the main story. And that has not happened this year because there's a global pandemic and they can't get their voice actors to record together. I assume. I don't actually know what's going on over there.
That probably sounds right, I would guess.
I mean, it's not a terribly blatant assumption. They pretty much said that in a blog post, but I assume that's what's still happening because I have no updates and nothing has changed. But anyway, the big news with the big update is that, I don't know if you know this, Zombies Run does virtual races. And previously, if you didn't sign up for the virtual race, if you didn't buy into it while it was going on, after that you could never access that ever. So if you missed one, you just miss it forever. And in the new update, if you subscribe at their highest subscription tier, you can get all of the virtual races, amongst other things. And
oh no.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. The subscription tier is $90 a year, which is a lot of money, but also to buy into a virtual race is $35. There's 2 races a year. So that's $70 a year. So that's not a bad deal because you're also getting a bunch of extras like in the app specifically itself. But here's the thing. I have a legacy subscription, which means that I bought this app when it first came out, when it was a pay once and you're done app. My legacy subscription is $8 a year. And that is a really, really high increase in price for me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's not that it's not worth as much money as they charge. It's that it's 1,000% increase from my current rate. So, that's made me a mess. It's very stressful. I play a lot of Zombies Run. Those are the games I've been playing.
Let's talk about some news. First of all, the wonderful news, Stardew Valley is finally getting the physical release we've all been definitely wanting.
It's everything I've ever wanted.
I mean, I would not be buying this if it was just the physical copy, right? Because I don't need a physical copy of a game
I do.
that I too own 3 times already. This is my 4th.
Yes, agreed.
But for those who aren't aware, the collector's edition, which is just an insane amount of money, comes with lots of other things, including, and this is so ridiculous, but I love it so much, a deed to the farm with made from recycled straw.
I love it.
Just fantastic.
It's really amazing.
It's so cool. And a glasses clean cloth. And
had it sitting up in my browser since yesterday, and it's like taunting me to just pull the trigger, but I'm so hesitant.
You need to get it by the 15th of August, though, because that's when the poster is no longer included.
Yeah.
I don't even have
so bad.
I don't even have room to put a poster. What am I gonna do?
That's not the point. You don't need to put it up.
Maybe I'll take down the Happy Home
diorama
Designer poster and put up the Stardew Valley poster next to my other Stardew Valley poster.
I think the thing for me is just that it's like all this like kind of new Kari Fry art.
Yes.
Like, I love it so much.
I agree.
And there's a whole Junimo comic.
Yeah.
But $70 for a game that I already own 3 other times is.
It is.
And let me tell you.
It is less than a year of Zombies Run.
But let me tell you, the shipping to the UK is another $50 on top.
Oh no!
Oh geez,
that's so much.
Shipping in the US is $8, I think. That's ruthless.
So I think because I also included the guidebook, so like
sure,
spent like $150 or something like that on this. Just insane. I don't know why I did that, but there we go.
Because it's worth it.
I did it for you, the listeners.
How much entertainment and joy has Stardew Valley brought you over the years? And is it at least worth another $150 worth?
Oh, can we not say the number again? It's just an insane amount of money. That is just so wrong. It's fine. I've already done it. It's too late.
I feel like I have to, and I'm probably going to. I'm just hesitant because it's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
I just it stresses me out a little bit, mostly just because I own it so many times. But yeah. I have a kind of obsession with collecting like physical copies of things that I really like, and I feel like I've had so much enjoyment from Stardew Valley that I don't have a choice. Yeah. It's not up to me at this point.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm in the same boat. Like, I literally just bought it before we started recording. And honestly, mostly because I just want to have it physically. Like, I really like all the, like, bonus stuff a lot. I only have 85,000 glasses cleaners, so I could use another one that's really cute.
Yeah. And it is a cute one.
It's very cute. But mostly, I just really want, like, the physical copy of it. I like to have the physical thing. I know me and Al argue over this a lot. I would prefer to have the physical thing, and Al would prefer to only have the physical thing if he thinks he's not going to like it so he can sell it.
Let me tell you, if I could have bought this, the collector's edition, without the game, I would have done that.
You're so weird.
I mean, that's an interesting point, though. Like, why not? Yeah. I feel like everybody who cares about Stardew Valley at this point already owns it, has owned it at least twice.
Okay, but then also, like, who would look at the, $90 for both of them included, right? And then take away $10 and go, oh, well, I wasn't going to buy it at the higher price, but I will with the $10 off. Like, nobody's going to do that, right?
You never know. Wow.
I love it though. It looks very good.
Yes.
And very cute.
Looks so cute.
And there's so many like neat little things that come with it, like the wooden standee is very cute. I have no idea where I would even put that.
Well, it doesn't ship till the
It
beginning
probably
of
won't
November.
even really leave the box. So, but it's cute, and I want to own it.
Me too.
Yeah. Speaking of things you want to own,
Nice.
it was worth a try. There's another Animal Crossing update.
Ooh.
The summer update phase 2.
We didn't even have to wait till 2021.
We didn't even need to wait till August. It came out in July. I was legitimately surprised with how quickly that came out.
Yeah.
This
Yeah, it
brings
was
a
fast.
brand new feature of fireworks. I believe these haven't been in a previous game before.
Aside
or
from
maybe-
like New Year's, no,
No, so these, yeah. And presumably you couldn't do custom fireworks,
no.
even when they weren't existed.
No, but once upon a
along
time
with-
you could draw constellations in the sky.
Oh,
Maybe again someday.
Maybe. I mean, it does seem like they're bringing all the old updates back because we also have what we are definitely going to be calling Dream Suite, even though there is no Dream Suite.
That's true. It's just Luna now.
It's just her. That's
I
exciting.
mean, it's less weird when you don't go to a building to do it, right?
Yeah. It's like definitely more natural feeling to just like go to sleep in your own bed and have a dream and then like wake up and you're dreaming in like someone else's town rather than like I'm going specifically to this location to fall asleep.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. I'm excited to see people who put a lot of effort into theming their towns and then sharing them.
Yeah. I'm
going, wow, how do they have that much time?
I mean, to be
I'm already
fair,
like second guessing what I've done to my town now that I have the opportunity to show it to people. I'm like,
oh yeah,
extra critical of all the stuff that I've done, and I'm like, this could definitely be better if I'm going to show this off to people.
I was gonna say like, I mean, take away the fact that right now 2/3 of my island is covered in flowers that I did not want. I'm sorry, I really can't get over this. Like, it's gonna take me probably a dozen shovels to dig up all these flowers to get rid of them. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so aside from that, like, I put a lot of work into theming a town right from the beginning. I don't know if Micah knows this. My town is called Pony Isle, and I made Pony Island from Alola.
Oh, that's cute.
And I have like a little Nurse Joy and like and a Poke Center and everything, and I spent a lot of time on it. I made a whole altar of the Moonie, and the idea of sharing that with another human being is horrifying. I'm just like, oh no, they're gonna find everything wrong with my rough Animal Crossing approximation of this Pokemon video game setting. Like, but
I think we're both underestimating how much people who play Animal Crossing just want to like see other people's things.
Yeah.
And not like really actually be critical of it, but just like being there is exciting to people who play the game.
Yeah. And I think it's, as a longtime player, I think it's a little hard because by the end of New Leaf, so like when we first got New Leaf and the Dream Suite was like this big new thing and it was very exciting and everyone wanted to go see other people's islands and we did that and it was really fun. It was really cool. But by the end, people had like hacked the game and they were making like impossible, fancy, wild, crazy creation islands that you could visit. And by the end, it was like, oh, did you see the horror town or whatever like that? So
yeah.
So it kind of over time, it became less, I want to visit other people and more, I want to see this town that they hacked all these items into and there's bamboo in the rivers, and also the theme is axe murder. So I'm just like, I'm jumping straight to exactly how it was at the end of New Leaf, and like I can't compete with Axe Murder Town, okay? Like,
right.
But
so obviously, as the new Animal Crossing player in this, I would be remiss if I were to not ask, even though I've found out the information recently, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask what the difference is between the Dream Suite and just visiting someone's island.
so I assume you have visited someone's island and you know what that experience is like.
I have, yes.
Dream Suite is like visiting someone's island, except nothing you do there has any real consequence. So like in the Dream Suite in New Leaf, and I assume this is about the same. I haven't actually done this in the new game yet. So you would show up in the town and like you could dig up trees and flowers and just create chaos and whatever, and nothing would happen to the actual original town. So that, but also you couldn't, like, if you couldn't go in the shops, so like you couldn't buy stuff from other people's shops. We don't have Wendell, right?
No, not currently.
Because that was another big reason for using the Dream Suite, is you could visit somebody else's town, and in that town you would run into this NPC named Wendell, and he would let you copy patterns, like custom design patterns from that town.
Yeah. So they just have now, you can just use the like the whatever the station is, the like Able Sister station, and just get people's patterns. While you're there.
Which you could not do before. So, that?
I would assume at some point we probably would get, like, Wendell with some kind of, I don't know, dream-related DIYs or something.
Maybe. I hope. I like Wendell.
That seems to kind of be, like, how they're handling
Yeah, I feel like they're just... This is just their way of making sure that the game constantly has new content. They've got all these old features that they're going to implement slowly over several years.
Yes.
Oh,
and
I expect most things are coming back.
My wife and I have talked at length about how certain we are that this game was completely underdeveloped at the time of release.
Absolutely.
And they're just like, we'll just finish things as we finish them, and then it counts as an update.
Absolutely.
But this is the thing, they did it well though, right? Where
absolutely.
everything that was in the game was really well done. And there was the things that aren't done that they didn't include in the game. So like there's nothing you look at in the game and go, oh, that was released too early, right? You could say that about the whole game. There's a legitimate argument for that. But
I'm not knocking it at all. It's just mostly just an observation, but the idea that like they definitely didn't have all of this stuff ready at the time of launch is funny to me, but it's perfect because it's every month there's something new for people to come back to, and like at least so far,
it's working out well for them.
Yeah, it's really good.
Also,
but they're still missing a lot of stuff that I'm sure is going to be added. We still don't have a new an upgrade to the shop.
yes.
I'm
hoping at some point we get one.
I'm missing Gracie Grace, so
yes.
Al's like,
Indeed.
I don't even know. It's fine. Al doesn't
Al doesn't
understand the
all I know is there's like a police dog somewhere.
Booker and Copper.
Oh yeah, I didn't really like forget about them.
We don't abolish.
Yeah,
look, I'm looking. I'm looking forward to just finding all these new features as they come and maybe playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remembered another thing about Dream Suite if you want to hear.
Go for it. I can always cut it out if anything.
I assume this is going to stay the same across, but part of the appeal is you can make your own fancy design island, and tell me if this is not how, I literally haven't looked into it. The old one used to generate a code, and then could you change your town after that, and the Dream Suite town would still be the same? I can't remember.
I can't remember either. I know that now you have to. I haven't visited anybody's islands yet. I haven't used the dreams. I just visited Luna for the first time and created my dream address, and that was it. But I don't know. I'm assuming that whenever you update it, you get a new dream address for it. It doesn't automatically update.
That's what I'm assuming.
Your island?
So presumably you can make your fancy design island and then create a dream address, and then so long as you never create a new dream address, you can give that out and people can see your island, and as they visit, you can change and do whatever else new with your island. It's kind of like taking a snapshot of your island to share with people.
At a specific point in time, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a cool feature. I look forward to trying that out at some point.
Yeah, it's neat. It was a huge... I mean, dream suites and like dream towns are like a big part of content creation for Animal Crossing. Like there were a lot of people that would have YouTube channels just dedicated to like visiting dream
Today
cities
we're gonna
and,
go
like,
visit the axe murder town. I'm sorry, I'm like obsessed with the axe murder town.
Obsessed with this one.
It was really good.
That was like a big that's like all the like really like horror themed towns were like a big thing because it's such a weird
It's not
like
very Animal
juxtaposition.
Crossing.
Oh, it's very. It is. The reason I'm obsessed is because that is the exact intersection of like my favorite things, of things that are just really cute and also really creepy. So, what else we got?
It's very cool though. It's a huge. It's a lot of creativity in the game, like added creativity to the game that is already incredibly creative. So I'm excited to see stuff, but I just got to get the time to it.
Yeah.
There are two other big features added to this update as well. The first one is that you can now back up your island if you are a Nintendo Switch Online. You can't restore it yet, but you can back it up.
Bless.
Okay.
So that's something. I think you can go through a backup process, but I think you have to phone them up to get it done just now, whereas at some point they're going to make it properly so you can like transfer it between consoles. And the last huge update is you can now trip in-game.
Tripping! Woo, 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 woo.
Yeah. Bad luck is back.
Well, no, that's not quite true. There are. See, this is the thing. I've not even played the update yet, but I know all about the ins and outs of the actual code. So the bad luck actually hasn't been re-implemented yet. But you can only trip in two situations. One is if you're holding a balloon.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Let me guess. You lose the balloon.
You do lose the balloon.
Oh, I love it.
Two is if you're holding the Cleopatra mask.
Holding or wearing?
Wearing, I think. Yeah, not holding.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
wearing.
Because that's from old games where you'd.
So it is based on this and some clues in the codes. It is the assumption that bad luck will be coming back at some point, but it's not there yet.
I hope so because I think that probably means Katrina.
Oh, yes.
And I miss Katrina a lot.
I miss Katrina. I have a Katrina poster in my creepy, cute back room in my house, and I miss her every time I go in there.
Same. I mean, not in that room, but I also miss her.
You're like, I also miss her every time I go into the back room of your house.
So just for clarification, if you want it or not, the way that the island backup works currently is that it's just it functions through your Nintendo account.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I misheard if you said that you had to like contact them.
Well,
directly?
so the backup happens through your account, but I think you have to contact them to restore it at this point, but I might.
Yeah, no, you just have to have your Nintendo account linked. So as long as you have your Nintendo account, as long as you're logged into it on whatever Switch you're restoring your backup from,
okay.
When you open the game, you can go to the settings and just restore from a backup.
I wonder why that. I wonder why they say that. I wonder why they say that, because they definitely said in a tweet that transferring isn't implemented yet. So is that you can only restore it onto the same Switch you backed up from?
So it might have something to do with, I suspect, I've had experience with this. If you have two different Switches and you're presumably transferring between the Switches, if you can only have your Nintendo account as the primary account on one of the two.
Yeah.
So
it needs to be primary account.
Yes, I assume that's what it has to do with. So like
that would make sense.
For example, I have my Nintendo account logged into my BFF's Switch so that they can play Untitled Goose Game, which I love, and just any game that I happen to own that's downloaded on it. But my Switch is where my account is primary, so I assume what it is that if I backed up mine, they could not get my backup on their Switch, even though my account is on that Switch, but since it's not the primary Switch for that account, they couldn't get that backup. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case. That is a wild speculation, but I assume it probably has something to do with that.
I just got the impression from the settings that, like, as long as you're logged into your Switch account and you restore the backup, then I think it just nullifies that instance on the whatever other Switch it was on. So you only ever have like one instance of it that you can use, like on a system. But I guess I don't know that I am too afraid to like test it.
Yeah, I'm just like, I have no motivation to test this, so we will wildly speculate.
Yeah. But it's nice to have something at the very least, because after 800 hours, I would be absolutely devastated if I lost any of my Animal Crossing data. I probably would never touch it again if I lost the data.
Yeah, I know that feeling with not with Animal Crossing, but with other stuff. It's not fun.
Yeah, it's really not.
I'm firmly in camp. I'm fine, start again. But I know I'm in the minority, so.
Yeah. So the final bit of information we got is that there will be another update coming in the fall, and there was a jack-o'-lantern on that image, so it's almost certainly coming before Halloween.
It's going to be fun.
I guess the end of September, that's what I'm thinking.
What do you think we'll do for Halloween? Do you think we'll wear different masks and go and scare different villagers? I miss that. I miss terrifying my residents.
Yeah, I miss it too.
So, there's a new My Time at Portia update.
A+ transition.
Come on. We've been recording for an hour. I'm done with transitions, all right?
No, I meant it. It would be horrible for this podcast's reputation if we ever had a good transition.
That's really harsh. I think I'm good at some of these transitions. Not many of them, but some of them.
I think I'm good sometimes. Our motto.
There's some quests and some bug fixes. Doesn't look like anything humongous, but useful changes for people who are enjoying playing the game.
Yeah. I want to pick up Portia again sometime. I never finished it, and I probably should, so.
I want to too, and I kind of hope that maybe they make some adjustments to the Switch version.
Yeah.
Like making it work well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. It's such a good game, and I want so badly to play it on my Switch, but...
I feel that so much. Especially, I started playing it on the PC and then switched to Switch when it came out on the Switch, and that was extremely disappointing. Because it just runs so horribly on the Switch, and I was like, I know I like this game because I've played it for a lot of hours, but I can't even play it in this, so...
Yeah. The last piece of news is that there's been an announcement of a new game, and because we've been running so long, I normally would skip new game announcements, but I need for both Raschelle and Micah, because I've got them both on, to go and look at this tweet and look at what this game is, watch the little trailer, and react to it, because I think you're both going to absolutely love this game.
This is really cute. Why are her eyes so big?
So this is Lemon Cake, for those who aren't looking at our show notes right now and therefore know exactly what we're going to be talking about. This is a game where you restore an abandoned bakery and expand your store.
It's like my previous
Look
real
at that
life.
bread.
Wow. Why are their eyes so big?
They do have very big eyes. So it looks like you bake specific things, you put them in the oven, and you serve them to customers.
This is like a cross between a farming game and... Diner Dash.
I was thinking, I was getting a Little Dragon's Cafe.
Yeah,
vibes.
that's exactly what I was going to say.
A little bit of Cooking Mama, which is essentially what Little Dragon's Cafe is.
Yeah, I definitely get Little Dragon's Cafe vibes.
Absolutely.
It's cute.
This looks so fun.
I like the, in between kind of low and not low poly art style.
Yeah.
It's cute.
It's cute. Their eyes are terrifyingly big, but I like it a lot.
I love that that's what you've hooked onto there, Rochelle.
Like, I don't know. Sorry. Not sorry. I'm not sorry. It's just wild.
There's a cat eating a donut in the art, the like splash screen art.
It's very cute. I like this.
So there we are. Lemon cake. It's
Cake.
up on Steam to wishlist, probably coming out at the end of 2020 or the beginning of 2021. Yeah.
Go check it out.
Cute
It's
game.
very cute. I will probably get it and play it. That seems right up my alley.
Thought so. So, shall we talk about Friends of Mineral Town? Specifically, Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town.
What's that game?
I think Al may be confused. So I believe today we're talking about the two Game Boy games. Harvest Moon Mineral Town and the girl version, Harvest Moon More Friends of Mineral Town.
More Friends of Mineral Town.
Oh, Micah, did you ever play the girl version?
I did.
Oh, man. What an adventure. Okay, let's talk about the new one. Because, let me tell you. I think this may be the best game remake I've ever played. It's infinitely better than the old one, and also is good.
Yes.
Which are two things that you would think would always come together, and often do not. So...
Can I get a gripe out of the way right away so
Absolutely.
that
Yes.
I can clear my mind of this and not have to come back to it later?
Yes.
I love this game a lot. However, it's really hard to go from the Doraemon art style to the art style that they used from this. And I could sort of sense that was going to happen
Yeah.
when I was playing through the Doraemon game.
I think we all
It's
felt that way.
such
Yeah.
a good art style, and I love it so much.
I remember you mentioning that on the episode we did about Doraemon. And I remember me talking you down, saying, no, it'll be great.
It's not bad. It's just...
It's fine. It's just not that same really, really beautiful art style.
Yeah, it was
It's-
so gorgeous that it feels like such a waste to only use that art style on one game.
Yeah.
I will wholeheartedly agree with this.
Other than that, though,
Other than that, is it better than Game Boy graphics?
absolutely.
It's
Well, that's like kind of subjective, I guess,
Yeah.
because a lot of people really like the pixel art.
I do think that the art style in this, they did a good job of kind of invoking like the old kind of pixel arty style, but in like a very modern 3D way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they did a good job with it. It's really, really... Doraemon was a really hard act to follow, so...
Yeah, I agree. I was unaware of how much the appreciation of Friends of Mineral Town was weighted in the music, and how, regardless of art style, that like carried so much of the nostalgia and appreciation.
Absolutely.
Like immediately.
Absolutely. I will say, I very often listen to other things. I often listen to like podcasts and stuff while I'm playing video games. Literally have not once with this game. I'm just like on a nostalgia trip. Like, I love this so much. This music is so great. Like, so good. Are you going to say anything, Al?
I mean, I'm just enjoying listening to you both. I enjoyed it. It's a good farming game. I obviously don't have the nostalgia of the old game that you two have. But I think that there's probably some bits that we'll get to at some point that feel a little bit too close to what I assume was the original. I think to the detriment of the game, in terms of not improving the quality of life when they could have done, but they wanted to keep it more like the original game. I think it fails in a few cases like that. For example, this is the one thing that really annoyed me about this game was that you can only have a stack of 9 crops at once in your bag.
Oh, yes.
Despite the fact that when you put them in the box, you can go up to 99.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You think that's bad. In the original, you had to manually stack everything.
Oh,
It's true.
no, it's like Animal Crossing New Leaf all over again.
Also,
Oh.
you started with like 3 slots for each tools and
Oh.
items,
Mm-hmm.
like things that you could carry in your bag, and you could one of those slots was carrying. So it was like 2 items you can store in your bag and one item that you could carry. So if you wanted to carry 3 things around, you had to hold one of them physically the whole time.
Oh.
So I guess the answer is
that's
there were quality of life updates,
Yeah,
just not
okay,
to
fine.
the degree you were expecting.
I don't understand why they've restricted it to 9 in your bag, though. This is a weird thing, right? If it was 9 everywhere, I'd be like, okay, that's annoying, but it's like just a game restriction, right? It's trying to
Sure.
not let you have too much. But why not limit it in the box as well? It just seems so weird to me. Like, it was so frustrating to go through, like, my 10 things of 9 of the same crop and click on them all. And then at the end, you've just got one thing in one stack in your box. It just felt so frustrating.
Yeah, it's strange. I'm not 100% sure why they did that.
I got nothing for you, man.
It's weird. It's weird.
I will say that I like upgraded my bag pretty much
Yes.
as soon as possible, so
Of
that
course.
issue is not
Interestingly,
as relevant
I did
to
not.
me, but I can see how, like, with the base, what is it, like 10 slots or
It's not just that I ran out of space in my bag because, like you, I upgraded as quickly as possible. It's also just that it made my bag messy.
Oh, sure. Yep.
Like, going to pick, 4 lines of 4 different crops, and I end up with my bag completely full of crops. And you're like, but that could have been, like, at most 8 nice stacks because of different, star ratings, right? It would have looked so much better, but it's just like so many crops. I don't know. I get annoyed about this little things like that.
I mean, that's a reasonable thing to get annoyed by. Like, especially in a game where, like, space or, like, inventory management is such an important part of,
Yeah.
like, just general operation. Yeah.
I don't care about inventory management, and I was content with the little backpack. So I was like, 10 spaces, wow.
Yeah, comparatively speaking to the original, that's like a huge upgrade.
Yeah. Having said all this, I have to say, so I don't think I've played a game where it separates your bag and your tools before. I don't think so. I'm sure there are other ones out there, but I've not noticed one before. That I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, if you take Stardew, for example, I was, like, always having specific slots in my bag for the tools so I can easily access them. But you didn't have to do that here. It's just a whole thing you just didn't need to think about, which was really nice. One thing I did find odd, and I know why they did it, it just felt odd, was that seeds were counted as a tool, not an item.
Yeah.
Because they use energy like a tool.
Yeah, I know, as I say, I know why they did it. It makes sense, like, logically when you think about the game, but when I think about how I'm going to be using it, it's not a tool, it's a consumable, right? Like, it's something that you use and it's gone. Whereas the tools are things that you use to do something else, and they stay after that. But that's a very minor thing, and it just felt a little bit weird.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Especially weirdest when I went to the shop the first time and bought them, and they were like, "Your tool bag's full. I'll just send them to your box." And I was like,
okay,
what?
but, like, can we talk about how great your bag is full? I'll send it to your house is? Because that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
that's amazing.
100% amazing.
A+.
Especially when, like, I mean, maybe this is not, like, the best way to play a farming game, but, like, I go in really hard on crops the first, like, 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when my day is like, I have literally 20 minutes to get to a shop and back to keep doing whatever I'm doing for my crops or, like, watering. The first time that happened and I was like, oh no, I'm out of space. and they just sent it to my house. I was like, oh, thank God I don't have to go all the way back and come back again.
Mm-hmm. It's also really good for, y'all are still in year 1, right?
Yeah.
Well, sorry for this really late notice. You probably aren't going to get a lot of use out of it now, but buy extra seeds at the end of the season for the next year because in this game the calendar is 30-day months and they don't always start the day of the week that the season starts on shifts, and there's a lot of seasons where the shop is closed on day 1, or like there's a festival, or it's closed on day 1 and there's a festival on day 2 and you can't even get seeds till day 3 or 4. So
that already happened to me, I think, in fall.
Yep.
Of year 1.
It starts year 1.
Yeah.
So
I really feel like they need to put more thought into things like that.
No, I think that it should be that way, and it's great. Life is inconvenient, and I love it. I love tripping.
Right.
I love shops being closed.
Look, right. They could do one change to make me happy, and that's let you buy the next season's seeds one day before that season. Just one day. Just one day. That's all I need.
No, that would be too easy. You have to think and plan ahead. You have to plan for the next year.
Wake your butt up at 6 a.m. You better not oversleep. You better not get too tired. And if you only slept for 20 minutes, you got to get up and get everything done before you go to the shop. Maybe the shop's closed. Oops. Maybe you forgot what days the shops are closed.
It's not like when I mucked up my tool upgrading and didn't have my watering can for 3 days. That was my own fault.
Always burns.
That was not fun.
Well,
yeah,
are you not recruiting the help of the harvest sprites?
I've met one of them. I've not had a task from them yet.
They will. Okay. If we're going to be talking about crops, let's talk about the harvest sprites.
Go for it.
So, I don't know if you know this, Al. If you go back around the back of the church, there's a little hut in the woods, and that's where the harvest sprites live. There's 7 of them. They're a rainbow. They're the rainbow
I've met one
colors.
of them.
How did you meet just one?
Well, I was in the wood in the middle of the town, and it appeared to me. Let me see, which one was it? The cherry.
The red one.
Possibly. It's got a red hat.
Yes, the red one. Trust me.
And they said to me, we'll be back soon with a task or something. And I've got no job requests.
Are you in fall?
I'm in fall, yeah.
Oh, is that the story to get
they've localized this properly. It says autumn. Nice.
Oh, I like that. Anyway.
Autumn. Oh, there's a hut back here. Hello, nature sprites.
I love this real time.
I didn't know you could get behind the church. That's cool. Oh, they have beds that are the same color as their clothes.
They're little rainbow sprites.
Oh,
so anyway,
sweet.
if you befriend them, they will do tasks for you. And one of the things they can do is they can water your crops, they can harvest your crops, or they can take care of your animals. Ooh. And let me tell you, it's great. I have all 7 of them. They water my crops. I have like a whole field of crops, and they water most of them, and I don't have to do a lot of work, so I do other things.
I love it. Let's do it.
But you also have to befriend them. I think you need like 3 notes of friendship, because the friendship is measured in notes. They're individual people. They like different things.
Yeah, I didn't mean them as a collective. I want you, Raschelle, to tell me what each individual nature sprite wants.
Don't give the purple one grapes.
Okay.
From what I understand,
grapes, but the purple one doesn't.
They like the grass that corresponds to their color.
I believe so, yes.
So like blueberry likes bluegrass and but the trick is only some grass is available during specific seasons.
Hoard it.
So you have to like hoard the grass. Yeah.
I have been selling that. Oh, so annoying.
You also need it for cooking. I don't know. So I think I put this in the Slack, but I have made a list of, because there's cooking in this game, like you cook food and stuff. I have made a list of every item you need to cook every recipe in the game. You need everything. Just hoard it all. Just hoard it all. Trust me. You can even hoard the wildflowers.
They'll even harvest ripe crops.
Yeah. That's one of the three things they do that I listed for you.
Very helpful little
I was
friends.
listening.
Ugh, my expertise is wasted.
Sorry. So I'm putting my Switch away. I will befriend them later.
Yeah, it's fun. You can also you can ask them to do things for you, but you can also they have like little meters of how well they can do the things that go up as they do it, and you can also play little mini games to help them get better. So like the watering crop mini game, is like a remember the order kind of game where you get a grid and you're like water these squares in this order, and you get points based on how well you do, and they get a little better at watering crops.
Simon Says.
Yes, it is 100% Simon Says. So
there's like a kind of like a timed ceiling too, isn't there, on the what they can do? So like at some point you have to rotate which nature sprites are doing which task, otherwise they like burn out. Or
yes, I am really great at this. So the way it works is that once you have befriended a sprite, you can ask them to do a job for you. There's the 3 jobs, which, Al, are you listening this time?
I'm listening, yeah.
Are watering crops, harvesting crops, or taking care of your animals. So you ask first what task you want them to do, and then how long you want them to do it. So I think you can do 1 day, 3 days, and 7 days. So, for example, if I always have them watering my crops because I have too many crops for me to water in a day, I can ask them to water my crops for 7 days. And so then starting the next day after I ask them, that's day 1, and they will water my crops for 7 days. And you can make them stop at any time. But on day 7, you can't get into the hut after they stop watering your crops. So they will show up in the morning at like 6 or 8 a.m. or something like that, and they stop doing whatever their tasks are at 6 p.m. Wherever they were in their task, they just stop. And then they go home. But by the time they get home, you can't get in their hut anymore, so you can't ask them to water the next day. So you'll always have like sort of a day in between. So you'll get 7 days of watering, and then the next day you have to do it all yourself and ask them to do it again, etc. Like kind of like that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
it's a whole system.
Yes. It is a whole system.
That like kind of you just learn as you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds slightly annoying, but much easier than watering all your crops.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. So that's farming. I don't know if we have to say very much about the farming in this. It's very classic. You plant your crops. They die at the end of the season immediately. You can upgrade your field. There are crop qualities in this game, which is new. The only place where they're relevant is in the sell price. It's not relevant for anything else in the whole game. So like, you don't get...
not even for competitions and stuff like that.
I don't know.
I'm sure that probably has some effect, but it's, as far as I know, it's not like super visible.
Yeah.
I just haven't hit a point where like I'm good enough to win.
I was gonna say, like, I've won one festival.
Competition.
I've won 2 festivals so far. Oh my gosh! I won a cooking competition because I know how to rig the cooking competition game, and and I'm also I also won a horse race in year 2.
Well, now
get there.
I want to know how to rig the cooking competition.
Okay, so here's how you rig the cooking competition. So every year there's a theme, correct? So like, for example, I think the one I did was I did the year 2 cooking competition, which is sweets. So if you go to your recipes and you've collected recipes, in a good chunk of the recipes, there'll be like a bracket that tells you what kind of category it is, and you have to match the category and then make one of those. And you get the value for like competition points is based on the amount of stamina the food will give you when you eat it. So the higher the stamina as an eaten item, the higher ranking you're going to get in the competition. So if you look at your recipes and you're like, okay, I have to do sweets, I'm going to find the sweet that gives you the most stamina out of all the sweet recipes you know. And then you make sure you can cook that one.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So, and same goes, like, if it's just sandwiches or whatever, it just changes the category, but it's the same across the board. It's kind of sort of easy. It depends a lot on what recipes you know and a lot on how dedicated you are to collecting recipes. So, because I believe there's 120 recipes in this game, about 100 of them can be entered into cooking competition. And there's a very large variety in the ways you acquire those recipes. So it's everything from villagers will teach them as you become friends with them, or like watching TV. Pro tip: the first 5 days after New Year's are special on the television on the entertainment channel, which is where like you'll see the cooking show on Tuesdays. The first 5 days of the new year, they do a New Year's special series. And during that New Year's special series, you get the recipe for, I don't remember what it's called. I think I don't know. It's some fun New Year's themed recipe. And that won me the sweets competition year 2. So make sure you learn that.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, I've made it a habit to check the entertainment channel every single day, regardless of what it is. Like, I'll just sit through, what's it called? Something Princess. I don't remember the name of it. Or Mecca. I can't remember the names of the shows.
I truly love that you can like actually just watch TV and they have just like little TV series you can just follow along as you go through the game. I think that's a really fun little detail.
It's great.
It's so good.
And as far as I know, the television, the images on the TV are the original images from the GBA.
I think so. They look so familiar.
Yeah.
Because it's not just, you're reading the text of the show. They'll actually have like little animations on it. It's very cute. I don't know if Alice spent
like
a lot of time.
3-frame animations.
Yeah.
Like pixel art animations. It's very, very good.
So I don't, in answer to your question, Raschelle, I don't watch it a huge amount anymore. I watched it quite a lot, mainly to figure out where you get the cooking stuff from. Because I didn't Google that initially. And I was there's no cooking channel. How am I meant to find the cooking stuff? And just figure it out.
It's entertainment channel on Tuesdays.
Yeah, it just seems like a weird channel to put it on. Is cooking entertainment? I just want to know stuff.
I'm entertained.
Yes.
You know?
Oh my gosh, Al, I don't know if you know this, but growing up, I didn't have a lot of television for a very significant chunk of my childhood. So basically, I would just watch like whatever the local television channel was. And let me tell you, there's a lot of cooking shows.
Oh, yeah.
Like, cooking shows are a really big popular thing, at least over here, so.
But surely then anything is entertainment, and therefore it becomes a meaningless term.
Yeah, I guess, like, maybe because there is an education channel. Like, why is
That's
it
what
not
I
in
was
the education
expecting.
channel?
Yes, thank you, Micah.
But, you know, they style it in the form of, like, a Chopped or, like, a MasterChef.
Yeah.
Contestant A versus contestant B. So, you know, there's entertainment in that regard, I guess.
I like to imagine I'm watching Nailed It every Tuesday.
There you go.
Al was like, I don't know what that is.
No.
All you have to know is it's one of my favorite cooking shows ever. It's very funny.
My cooking show that I like to watch is reddit.com/r/gif recipes.
Oh.
That's about, I just like to scroll through that and see things that, I would definitely never cook that, but I would love to have the time to do it.
Well, I'm a fan of Cooking with Dog, so I learned a lot of cooking skills from Cooking with Dog. Anyway, so that's a television. That's recipes. Crops, farming. Do we want to talk about animals?
Yeah. Yes. I have some points to talk about animals, and you'll tell me that. This has been. Yes, animals. We like animals. Chickens and rabbits and cows and sheep and llamas. Did I miss anything? Oh, horse.
Yeah,
alpaca.
You got your horse. And we got alpacas in this game.
Rabbit.
Did I not say alpacas? What did I said? Llamas.
You said llamas.
That was what it was.
Yeah.
Not llama.
Oh.
Alpaca. Much better.
I completely glossed over the fact that you said llama and just I just heard sheep for some reason.
Micah's like, that's not in the game. I don't need to pay attention to that.
Yeah. You were listening for what I wasn't saying, not what I was saying.
There's different kinds of chickens and different kinds of cows this time.
Yes.
The cows are my favorite new feature.
I love the cows. They're so good. I have
so
one
cute.
of each cow, and I have named them after the different forms of Oricorio.
Oh, that's good.
Ooh.
In case you were wondering, I'm farming on Pony Farm, and all of my animals are named after Pokemon. I think I have a problem.
I love it. That's super cute. I also have one of each, and I named the normal cow. I just named Whitney because
you have to.
Pokemon.
It's a perfect name. I might name my. I have a baby cow in the making. I might name it Whitney.
It's a good name.
Yeah.
And then the other three, there's the fruit cow, the strawberry cow, and the coffee cow, and I named them Sorbet, Frappe, and Parfait because I thought that was.
I love it. That's
cute,
very cute.
Like alliteration.
I love it. Can I guess what Al named his cows?
Well, yeah, you both have so much more imagination than me. I bet.
Cow 1, cow 2,
yeah,
cow 3.
Yeah, I bet you can't guess my chickens though.
Chick 1.
I actually do not have a chicken called Chick 1. No.
Wow, what did you name your chickens? I named mine Rowlet, and I just hatched a Dartrix, and I have a Picky-Peck Toucanon.
Well,
that's cute.
You're gonna hate this, Raschelle, because my chickens are named Chick 2, Chick 3.
Oh no!
I sold Chick 1.
What happened?
Why?
Well, no. So this leads into the really important part of this game that I haven't had in another farming game, which is the ones you buy from the stores have a maximum number of hearts.
Yes. Do you want to talk about animal breeding?
Let's do this, because I've never ever cared about breeding before. I would always do chickens because that's nice and easy when games have it, because it's just you throw an egg in, right? But I've never cared about breeding cows before because it always ends up being so expensive and time consuming. But this game actually makes me want to do it.
Yeah, because like I said in the show notes, you gotta breed them like you're looking for a shiny. Everything goes back to Pokemon. So in this game, when you buy animals from a shop, like you were saying, all of your animals at the ideal max can have 10 hearts of friendship. But when you buy them from the shop, it starts at a maximum of 5 hearts. So the very first cow or chicken you get can only ever have 5 hearts of friendship, no matter what you do. And that applies to like everything associated with that, in putting them in competitions or getting different qualities of products from them, etc., is dependent upon this. So to get higher level... Oh, geez. I'm sorry. I almost knocked over my orange juice. To get a higher level friendship capability with your animals, you have to breed them. And it's based on whatever the highest heart value you have with your animal. When you breed that animal, it will have the potential for 1 additional heart. So you're going to have to breed your animals multiple times to be able to get a 10 heart possible animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I sold Chick 1.
Rip Chick 1.
It's all right. Chick 2 and 3 are on their way out as well. I've just not... I expanded my my coop, so they got a little bit of breathing room before I had the coop full for that one.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, you can just come full circle back to Chick 1.
I just need to, like Chick 30 or something is probably what I'll end up on once I've full.
No.
But the other thing is, this is also another way of making money with chickens, right? Because if you keep breeding them and keep selling them, it's probably not as good as selling their eggs.
You don't sell the eggs, you hoard the eggs. You need a lot of eggs to cook all the recipes in this game.
Yeah, you gotta cook. I named my chickens Kuko, which is like I always named one of my chickens Kuko when I was playing Harvest Moon games.
Of course.
And Nuggy.
Chicky Nuggy, yes.
Yeah. And
That's
Love it.
Chalky. I named the brown chicken Chalky, like chalky milk.
Oh, I love this.
Because there's no okay. This is weird to me. That maybe it's not weird. I don't know. The brown cow is a coffee cow and not a chocolate cow.
Right? How weird is that?
It makes coffee milk and not chocolate milk. Is
It's
that
just every
that
third
not
grader in
weird?
this country is livid. Like everyone knows that brown cows make chocolate milk. Come on.
Yeah. It took a lot to like convince myself that it's not like to stop calling it the chocolate cow.
No, me too. I still do that sometimes. I'll like be like tossing some milk in the shipping bin, which by the way, you keep the regular milk to cook with and sell the other flavors. And I'll be like, all right, I got my fruit and my strawberry and my chocolate coffee every single time. I have never not done that. Like, I don't think I will ever not do that.
I also named my sheep Reese and my alpaca Cyrus.
Yes,
because
I
of Animal
love
Crossing.
it.
And I named my
because
Angora
Animal
rabbit
Crossing.
Max. Like Max and Ruby. I don't know if you remember Max and Ruby.
I love Micah. You're so good at naming animals.
It's one of my favorite parts of raising animals.
Same though.
Which is funny because my real life pets, we didn't change their names when we rescued them from the Humane Society. We just kept their names the way they were because we didn't want to confuse them.
I'm trying to think.
When realistically, probably they didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't know. Our dog, I think she has the same name she was given when she was born from the breeder. She's a corgi. But I also think she doesn't know her name anymore because her name is Lucy. And we also call her Goosey. And we also call her Goosey Goo. And we also call her Egg Roll and Tootsie Pop and literally just everything. I don't know if she knows she has a name. So
I think she probably just knows the tone.
yes, absolutely.
And that's it. Pets are different. I don't know if that's...
Pets are different.
Are we... I don't want to like transition.
Yeah.
No, go for it.
Micah, that was a
don't-
perfect transition for this podcast. Thank you. Let's go.
You don't start with a dog,
No, you don't.
which was like weird to me initially.
Mm-hmm.
I spent the first like few days like, I got a horse before I got a dog.
Yeah,
where's
it's
my
weird.
dog?
I think especially because it's not just in the old Mineral Town games. It's also like that's like a classic Harvest Moon series trope where you just always have a dog, and it was weird to not have a dog at the beginning.
The little beagle.
Yeah.
You always got your beagle with you.
Mm-hmm. Not in this game. You have to buy it.
Yeah.
Which,
However, that's really exciting
yes,
because there's a lot of pets now.
there are so many pets. Oh my gosh.
Did you happen to get any pets, Al?
No, not yet. Just got the horse.
Okay.
It's not the sort of thing that I prioritize, but I'll get around to eventually.
How are you gonna play the frisbee competition in summer? You
In a
have to
few
have
years.
a pet. Ugh, I'm rolling my eyes.
So does this qualify as spoilers? Probably, right?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. All mechanics are never spoilers. We can talk about mechanics. The only things that are spoilers are me talking about character storylines.
Okay.
And if you have a problem with that, you can tweet us at THSPod.
So in order to get access to the pets, you have to give a gift to the Harvest Goddess. Mm-hmm. I think, what is it, like 30 times before you get access to Van, the traveling salesman. And then he sets up on the 15th of every month, then he'll set up shop in the square where he sells pets. Mm-hmm. And the pets that you can get are different depending on the season.
Mm-hmm.
And you have 5 pet slots where you can have like 5 pets at any given time, which is kind of great.
Absolutely. So now you can have a dog and a cat and a cat and a cat No,
You can have penguins. You can have
penguins and capybaras.
capybaras. Oh my god.
Yes, I think it's
cute.
like dogs in spring and cats in summer. And no, it's penguins in summer. Anyway,
Yeah,
there's one of
penguins in
those
summer
for each
because that's.
season.
I was looking at like what pets are. I googled what pets
Yeah.
are available when, and it's. I thought it was kind of cute that the penguins were only available in the summer.
I did too. That's very good. I love it. Pets are so good. I love pets. They're fun.
It's
You play
great.
with them. You train them. You throw frisbees on the first day of summer. It's so great.
I'm a little sad that you can't pick them up anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like pick them up and carry them around. That was kind of
Yeah.
always like a cute way to interact with them, but
Yeah. Now you just
you
whistle.
just kind of talk to them and that's it.
And if you accidentally whistle when I don't know if you know this, but if you whistle around NPCs, they react. They're like, "Why are you whistling at me?"
Oh,
And
no,
I
I didn't know that.
I learned that on accident.
I love that.
Oh.
They're all startled. They're like, "Ah!" And I'm like, "I'm sorry. I was trying to get my horse to follow me."
I love the difference between us, Micah, and me here. Like, I can only stack things to 9, and you're like, I wish I could pick up my dog.
See, it's just because I'm so used to not being able to stack anything in Friends of Mineral Town
Yeah,
that I'm just so content with even 9.
I feel that. And yes, it is. You have to give the Harvest Goddess 30 gifts to get Van. There's a whole for people who are wondering why they should give gifts to the Harvest Goddess at all.
Oh, so many reasons.
So many reasons. You get a whole
Yes.
bunch of stuff unlocked. Everything from like unlocking NPCs that teach you. Van opens a shop, and Lou gives you recipes. The maximum, in case anyone is wondering, if after you give 150 gifts, so that's a gift on 150 different independent game days, you will get a seaside cottage.
Yes.
So, do it.
Get that cottage. Also, after 100, I think then you get access to the elevator in the mines.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And it goes like in intervals of 50 floors at a time or something like that.
Yes, it does.
Which is like, that was never in the original.
Yeah. No, that is a great quality of life improvement.
I have, maybe this is bad, but I don't care. I have taken to the new feature that you can load a game from anywhere,
Yes.
and I have started using that to my advantage in the mine,
Yes. Absolutely.
where I can just this was a thing that you could do in the Game Boy Advance version, where you could like find the staircase and then reset the game, but you would load from like your house,
Yeah.
and then you would have to go all the way back to the mine and then find the next floor and then save it and then go back and so on. Because that instance was repeating. It wasn't like in this one where you leave, you come back in and it's a whole new instance.
Yeah.
But here you can just save the game once you get to the next floor and then look for the staircase and then just reload the save and keep doing that to like greatly save on stamina.
Yeah. And
Which is maybe
especially-
kind of an exploit, but like
It absolutely
I don't
is. And
particularly
you know what?
care.
That's fine. It's really, really helpful, especially when you're trying to like... So there's a lot of rewards for getting really far down in the different mines. There's 2 different mines in this game. I don't know if... Al, you probably don't know that. You haven't gotten to winter, have you?
I know about it. I've just not been in it yet.
I'm sorry, I just assume you know nothing.
The map literally calls it Winter Mine. Right?
Yes. It's pretty obvious. So there's the spring mine by the Harvest Goddess's little spring.
yeah, the
Oh,
little
that's why
waterfall
it's
thing.
called the Spring Mine. Oh,
Yeah. It's
See, I
supposed to be
thought-
the Harvest Goddess spring, but it's kind of more like a river.
Well, I assumed it was spring, as in like spring and winter,
The
and I was
season.
confused as to why you could go in it in any season, not just spring.
No, it's by the Harvest Goddess Spring. And then the winter one is in the lake. It's in the middle of the lake, so you have to wait for winter when the lake freezes over, and then you can walk over it and go into the mine. And by the way, in the very back of the mine is a power berry. Like, if you don't go into the mine, you walk around to the back of the overworld building of the mine and interact with it. There's a power berry there.
Get that, and then I think on like floor 19, there's also a power berry. Mm-hmm. You got to get those power berries.
Absolutely.
Which is also like I feel like I'm getting ahead of all of us.
There is no
there's
ahead.
so many
Please
things to
talk.
like. The power berries are a thing that existed, but until you got to like a certain point with the Harvest Goddess, I think then you couldn't actually see it. Mm-hmm. There was no like visible stamina other than your character getting tired.
Yes.
Until you got to a certain point with the Harvest Goddess, and then you unlock that. So like having visible stamina with power berry or the face emotion meter, whatever, and then
so you have
also the power berry meter, like so nice.
On your game display, Al, you're not going to believe this. This didn't exist in the old one. On your game display, so the little berries are your stamina.
Yeah.
And the little face is your fatigue.
Very confusing until I read up on what it actually was. But very interesting nonetheless.
Yes. And, you know, they do the little tired animations when you're getting tired and stuff like that. You never, the little animations was all you used to have. You would never know, like, well, I don't know how much stamina I have. I'm going to try until my field, and then I'm going to pass out on accident.
Yep. See, it was literally just, I'm going to keep working until my character's face turns blue, and then I have to stop.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, this was the thing that annoyed me about Doraemon. Not that it didn't have one, but it wasn't like in my face the whole time. And so I'm glad they brought this back to being in my face. I like the bar being in my face.
Yeah.
Yes, it's really good. It's kind of weird because, I can't remember if this was in just the girl version or also in both versions. I truly can't remember. Sorry. But there's a set of items that are like... So you collect these orbs, and there's 9 of them.
Sure.
Yeah, so there's the goddess orbs, and then there's the Kappa orbs. This might have been... Sorry, I'm just trying... in my memory, I cannot differentiate between the boy and the girl version.
Those are in both versions.
Okay.
For clarification... I don't know if I'm assuming, Al, you probably saw this, but there were 2 versions of this game.
Yes.
There was Friends of Mineral Town and then more Friends of Mineral Town.
Yeah, we've definitely had that discussion before.
Yeah.
In Raschelle.
Which is strange, but now you can play however you want with one version, and you don't need to buy a whole separate version.
And it's great, and I'm really excited to talk about that.
Are we getting on to social then? That feels like we're getting on to social.
No, I'm going to finish this thought.
Oh, we're not done with that.
I'm going to finish this thought, and then we're going to talk about that, because I'm really excited. So, you collect these orbs. There's 9 of them. So, like, there's 9 goddess orbs, and there's 9 Kappa orbs, and there's 9, what are they called? Truth orbs? I can't remember.
Yeah, Jewel of Truth.
Yes, and once you collect all 9 of the orbs, they combine to become a jewel. And what they did in the old games is that, like, you would get, like, the goddess... I don't remember if this is exactly right, sorry. You'd get the goddess jewel, and that would allow you to see how much stamina you have, for example. But now that's visible, so that one is kind of a moot point. There is one that will give you the exact numbers for your fatigue, and the other one... What does the other one do? The other one is actually worth it in this game. I can't
stamina.
Remember. No, it's stamina and fatigue.
In this game.
Yes. I'm going to look it up just a sec. So the truth jewel gives you your fatigue. The truth jewel gives you your fatigue. The goddess treasure gives you your stamina. But the Kappa jewel, as long as you have it equipped, it will restore your fatigue by 1 point in-game every minute. Every in-game minute. So as long as you have it equipped as your tool, it restores your fatigue. So you don't have to, like, go sit in the hot spring for forever. And the goddess jewel does the same, just with your stamina. Those are fun. Yeah. We can move on to social now.
Good stuff. It's good. It's a lot of, like, you got to collect them. You got to find them. There's really specific circumstances for some of them. But Yeah, it's really amazing to me how much like deep level content there is in this game that is not relevant, like not prevalent surface level.
Yes, like you have
like,
to.
It just looks like a very basic. It can come across as just a very basic farming game, but the deeper you go, there's so much more to do. Like cursed tools and gems and like so many things.
Agreed. Which is part of the reason why I wanted to kind of like point that out, because like that's kind of what I think makes this part of what makes this a really good game, because you can play it as just a boring surface level farming game, but it has so much depth to it that you can live without. You're not going to die if you never get the goddess treasure. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the fact that it is there and available and makes it additional tasks that you can do in a game that can easily get repetitive and boring, fantastic. Very well balanced. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Totally.
Al, you want to talk about some characters?
We'll talk about the socialists in general, because you know, obviously there were some changes in how that works, with one large change, which I'm sure you're very excited about.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna heckin' maybe marry Potpourri. So yeah, there is same-sex marriage in this game, which is very exciting.
Yes.
And I know in Japan it's still called just best friend mode. I believe, because,
of course.
Because same-sex marriage is illegal in Japan still, I think.
Yeah, but the funny thing about it is that it's called that, but everything else is exactly the same. Like, it's a wedding, right? It's a marriage. It's just called different.
Actually, correct me if I'm wrong. I think there might be a difference so when you talk to marriage candidates, there's a little heart that tells you, like, this is their heart level next to their name. And I think that does not display for same-sex characters until you're, like, dating them or something in the Japan version. I'm not entirely sure, but that sounds about right. Whereas in other versions, that's just there from the get-go. You know who you can marry because there's a heart by their name, regardless of gender. I did a very cute cutscene playing as a girl where Potpourri was playing house with the kids of the town, and the little boy was like, "You're a girl, you can't play the dad," and Potpourri was like, "Of course she can play the dad." And I was like, this is the greatest game I've ever played in my life. So I'm sorry, I'm very excited about this.
It's really exciting. It's a good I mean, you know, finally, but it's a good change. It is much needed change.
It is noteworthy, I think, especially because we've talked about like Stardew Valley and My Time at Portia and stuff where you can do same-sex marriage and it's not a big deal. This is the first time ever in a Harvest Moon Story of Seasons game. So there has been the best friend mode in, I think, 1 or 2 games before in the past, but like this is like the big doing it that they've ever done it.
Just friends, though, you know?
Just friends.
Had like a best friend ceremony to show how good of friends you are. Yeah. Just friends, though.
You know, just
we're raising a kid together, but just friends.
Just friends.
I presume the reason that this is only just now coming in is because the developer is a Japanese company. And
sure.
You know, because we've talked about how it's still not called marriage in Japan. And obviously you brought up, which, I've double checked. You're right. The heart markers are invisible for same-sex candidates in the Japanese version. It's interesting that they have such a cultural stigma against that, I guess, then? Or do you think that's... I don't know. I guess none of us would know because we don't live in Japan.
I was going to say...
how widespread it is.
Would be curious if it's some level of... This is just... Please don't take this as me, like, understanding fully or having, like... This is just speculation, but I would be curious to see if it's maybe... The reasoning is maybe... because it's like child-friendly media, because there's a lot of adult content that really in Japan that really like doesn't care either way, and isn't afraid to like approach the topic of same-sex anything, but like maybe because it's children's media they're more cautious of it for some reason.
that would thoroughly not surprise me. And I say that with my American sensibilities because that is an extremely common sort of homophobic sentiment in the United States. And I would not at all be surprised if that was the case over there.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll look into that someday.
It's very possible because there are a lot of things in different countries that are regulated and would require certain age ratings on things. Mm-hmm. And you can certainly see that some people would think that should be behind that. And therefore, I wouldn't be surprised if you're right and it's actually would give them a higher age rating on their game if they did that in Japan. That would not surprise me. Mm-hmm. However disappointing it is.
Right.
Slowly but surely.
It's progress.
Also interested if maybe there was some, because it's really hard to ignore the fact that so much of what has become like commonplace for farming sims has really like, I mean, a lot of that the contributing factors have been like games like Stardew Valley. Mm-hmm. And things like that. And I'm curious if the success of Stardew Valley had any kind of impact on how they've changed features or things like, maybe they saw how much people appreciated that you could have same-sex relationships in that game, and maybe they, took that into account and were like, okay, maybe we can make this change.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm going to have to sit down and write a dissertation on that sometime soon. Because we talk a lot about how Harvest Moon Story of Seasons has impacted the genre in that direction, but we don't talk a lot about the opposite direction of influence of other games impacting the Harvest Moon Story of Seasons.
Right.
So
yeah, like the Western influence.
Yes.
It's definitely interesting to see, because so much of Stardew Valley really was very heavily inspired by Harvest Moon. It's interesting to see the flip side of that.
And maybe eventually we'll start getting some feedback and 8 or 10 games we'll have the perfect farming game. I guess we'll see. Do you want to talk about, is there anything in particular socially you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about characters or anything?
So, I mean, the main thing I wanted to talk about was the same-sex marriage, because that's obviously a big change from the original. I guess in terms of how it works in general is pretty kind of standard for farming games. I don't think there's anything special here.
Mm-hmm. I will say there are some new things if you wanted to hear some of the differences from the old games.
Yeah, I do. I always do.
So, right off the top, we have 2 new marriage candidates. You have Brandon, who is a guy, and he's obnoxious. And you have Jennifer, who is a gal, and she's a little moonchildy. So that was a Zombies Run reference.
Well, I did not realize that Jennifer was new.
Yes.
Yeah, I like Jennifer. Jennifer is how do I say this in a way that's not creepy? The one I am currently pursuing in the game, that's not creepy, is it?
No.
Okay,
no,
cool.
I don't think so.
You got your sights set on Jennifer. I understand. It's tempting.
It's maybe a little weird. It's maybe a little weird that some of the characters feel incredibly young. But
yes.
I have to remind myself that my character is also probably just their age. So
yes, and
it's just weird to be I'm trying to court this person, what seems to be a child. That's very uncomfortable.
I very much ran into this because I don't know if you could tell, but I was very excited about the prospect of being able to marry Potpourri, who I always wanted to marry in the original.
Yeah.
Which I did in the boy version and you can't in the girl version. Playing now as an older person, I have realized she is very young. She is played as very young. I think I could maybe argue technically she's 18 and it's technically fine. But it feels uncomfortable, which kind of also leads me to this thing where, like, the older I get, the more I want to marry characters who are not actually marriage candidates. Like, which
Like
I know is...
grown adults in the games.
Yes, exactly. Like, we're grown adults. And, like, that's just... the older I get, the more and more I'm like, well, I don't think any of the marriage candidates are people I would have my character marry, but I don't know. I'll marry Potpourri's mom. Her dad's gone. I'll marry mom.
I'm still waiting for the farming game where you can marry anyone, and I mean anyone, right? I want to break up relationships. I want to marry anyone in the game.
Coming in like a home wrecker, destroying
home wrecking
town.
Simulator.
Look, you can't pretend you wouldn't do it at least once if it was in the game. Come on.
I might be tempted.
That drama.
Drama.
Going.
But along those lines, I will say, like, for example, like, I do think there are some characters who are played as very young and some characters who are played as a little older. I kind of wonder if that's part of the reason they put in Jennifer and Brandon, because Jennifer and Brandon, I think out of most of them, with an exception that I'll get to in a minute, seem like the oldest of the marriage candidates. And I'm wondering if they did that to be like, we know the fans are older now and are going to feel a little bit awkward about marrying like Kai or Potpourri. So,
yeah,
let's give them something.
Give them something.
So, yeah. Because your other option is, I don't know if Al knows this, you can marry the Harvest Goddess, or Kappa, or Bon Vivant, who is the judge of the food competition, or you can marry Huang, who is the trader in Zach's house on the beach. They're considered special marriage candidates, so like the special ones were, in the boy version, you could marry the Harvest Goddess. And the girl version, when they made that, they were like, we have to give them something, I guess. So they decided you could marry Kappa.
Kappa. So, they're like, I don't know, Kappa.
They're like, what do girls like?
I love this.
Moody
I love
men
this
who
idea.
literally never say anything to them whatsoever. Deal.
I love this idea of like, oh yes, you can marry like, a literal goddess, but only if you're a boy.
Yeah.
Yes. Only
if you're a girl, you can marry a mythological duck man.
Who literally never says anything to you? What a relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. For the listeners, the main big thing about this is it's very much about showing off your prowess in the game, because the requirements to marry these characters are through the roof. Usually you're playing for a minimum... Actually, yeah. So you're usually playing for about 5 years in the game minimum, and there's requirements like you have to catch every fish in the game, or you have to ship one of everything, or you have to cook one of everything, or you have to... There's some weird, like with Kappa and the Goddess, there's a weird... This is the only place you're restricted in this game for marriage candidates, and it's because after, I think it's like 10 or 20... gifts you give to the Harvest Goddess, she asks if there's anyone you have your eyes on, and that gives you extra friend point and love points with those characters. But if you pick Kappa, you cannot marry the Harvest Goddess, and if you pick the Harvest Goddess, you cannot marry Kappa, and that's the only restriction in who you can marry in this game. And then you also have to go to the church and go to confess that you want to marry the Harvest Goddess. And then it is at the whim of what's-his-face whether or not you will be given a blessing or told you're weird.
Carter.
And Carter, let me tell you, Carter is so... What a strange experience. I just like, you go in and you're like, it's raining. Carter, I need to tell you, I was mean to the villagers today. And Carter's like, yeah, you're a jerk. Get out of here. And I'm just like, this is the strangest experience of my life. I wanted some like help, maybe some advice. And no, you're just like berating me. Ugh. The people who complained about Rossetti would flip their expletive over this. Like, anyway, that was a tangent. But yes, so did we?
I was tempted to try to court the Harvest Goddess, but I don't know that I realistically I looked at it and I was like, the likelihood that I will be able to play enough to be able to do that is probably pretty low. So just as per usual, I'll go for Potpourri, and that's that.
Sounds about right. It's an ordeal. Like I said, I think it's very much it's about showing off how good you are at the game to marry one of those candidates, I think. And less about other aspects of the game. Because there's also a lot of aspects of the game that you delay when you do that, because like if you have to wait so long to meet these requirements, there's a lot of things like, I don't know, you'll never get the fancy house you get on your 50th wedding anniversary until an extra 5 years on top of the regular one. You know what I mean? Like, so things like that. It's about showing off.
Yeah.
And, you know, for some people, that's their jam, and that's fine.
Flexing your farming ability, even though it's not really farming, but, you know.
Flexing your Harvest Moon skills.
Social skills.
Yeah. Here's something that's different. So, Micah, do you remember in the old game where... So there's the winery, and they ask you to come work, and if you don't invite Cliff to go work with you, he moves away forever.
Yes.
So in this game, you can have Cliff return if he moves away forever, which may or may not be why I have played half of Year 2 twice, because...
Oh, no.
I don't know if Al knows this. Al, did you get, like, the winery scene?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, you might just not be there, but there's a part in Fall where what happens is the guy who runs the winery says, I need some part-time help. Why don't you bring a friend tomorrow and come and do some work? And the friend you're supposed to bring is Cliff. And if you don't ask Cliff to go with you, he decides, there's no reason for me to stay in this town. I don't have the money and I'm not doing anything. I'm leaving. And in the old game, he literally never came back. And in the new game, he can come back the next year, but you have to trigger a cutscene at a very specific time on exactly spring 29. Which I was interested to see the new cutscene, so I let Cliff leave intentionally, and then I forgot about it, and then I played to the end of summer. And,
oh no! Oh, now it's coming together.
And I was like, "Where's Cliff? Oh, I forgot the cutscene." So I never saw it, and he never came back. So I reloaded the farthest back of my saves that I could to still be able to do it, which happened to be spring 2 of Year 2. So I've played the second half of Year 2 twice now. But yeah, Cliff does come back. It's very good. So if anyone was like, oh, Cliff, if you accidentally let Cliff leave and you were really interested in dating that really quiet guy, he can come back, but only if you see a cutscene after 6 p.m. walking north out of your farm on spring 29. So that's a new thing.
I was unaware of that, and
Yes.
I'm not yet at spring of Year 2, so I'll have to keep that in mind because I didn't interact with Cliff really at all in Year 1.
Rip Cliff. So were there any social things y'all wanted to talk about? Any characters you wanted to chat?
I kind of don't like, I mean, other than the one person that I kind of like have my like sights set on, I don't really interact socially that much. I kind of just have like tunnel vision, or like money making tunnel vision until like Year 2, or until winter when there's like not really anything to do. And even then in winter, it's a lot of like, I want to mine and upgrade my tools as soon as possible so that Year 2 is way easier.
Yeah.
But I guess I've always kind of played that way, so maybe I should not do that and try like, because we do have save slots now, and I can play multiple farms at once. Well, not at once, but you know. So maybe that's a good opportunity to experience some of the like social stuff that I would not experience otherwise. I just get so like min-maxy with income that I'm like, well, I want to make sure that I'm getting all the right crops and I'm getting as many as I can, and I don't have time to do anything else during the day but water and pick and plant, and that's it.
Did Al have anything to say?
I don't think a huge amount. No, you know, I never get too far into the characters unless there's something really interesting about them.
I don't know why I ask. I know I'm the character person.
Sorry. Raschelle, was there anyone you want to talk about?
Yes, actually. Just the last thing I wanted to kind of note is that I thought it was really interesting. So the localization team on the Xseed game website did a blog post a while back about how they were localizing this game. And one of the things they had said was that they were working to update and modernize the dialogue. And I wanted to note that I think they did a very good job of it, actually. I really like the dialogue. All the characters have a lot of like really independent personality and stuff. There's a lot of little things I really enjoy. For example, there's the character, is it Mana? I believe it's Mana.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Mm-hmm. Yeah, who talks a lot. She's a very good talker. And one of the fun things is that, so you can hold down A or B to like speed through people's dialogue in this. And when you talk to Mana, it slows that down. So it's just like she talks and talks and talks. And there's a lot of little things like that that I think they did a really good job on. Yeah. So I think if you haven't spent a lot of time like talking to characters in this, they're fun. They are worth talking to. It's not Rune Factory 4 level of dialogue where you just very rarely hit non-repeating dialogue, but it's good dialogue. And I don't know, just every couple days a week, go talk to some people. It's worth it. So the dialogue's good. So.
And it feels, I mean, there's still a lot of characters, but it feels like maybe in comparison to something like Stardew Valley, it feels a lot less daunting because I just feel like in Stardew Valley it was always so intimidating because there's so many characters. And I don't know the actual numbers, maybe there's a similar amount, but it feels like there's a lot less in Friends of Mineral Town, so it's easier to kind of manage, I don't know, talking to a lot of people. Maybe it's also just that there was less intensity in the dialogue.
Yeah. But I think there's comparable numbers, but I feel like the characters in this game are a little more kind of compartmentalized into like their little families or social groups. So it's a lot easier to be like, oh, well, I'm going to focus on, I don't know, every day when I go to the beach to give Huang a gift because that's really good at making money. Once you up Huang's friendship and also be friends with people, but also money. But like, and then on my way out of the beach, there's always the older wives who are always gossiping together. And that's why I talk to all them. Or like, I'm going to talk to Potpourri's family every time I go and buy a chicken. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of easier to, and because they are not as often in this game, they're more often than not. They do like walk around to different places, but they're usually like in a set place. Like if they're not in the house, they're walking from the house to the park, and it's very set. Whereas in Stardew Valley, I feel like the characters did a lot more walking around, and like so it felt more like stuff. Yes. Yeah. So it feels a lot easier to get your regulars, and you know where they are at any given time. Sure. And so you can kind of settle into a pattern in this game, which was harder to do with Stardew Valley. I think that probably contributed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. I have a couple of other small things I want to talk about. Is there anything else we want to talk about that's big stuff?
No.
There's no real story, is there? I've not missed it, have I?
The story is you used to live in the city and now you want to do a farm.
Yeah, that's
Did you know?
You did it.
Yeah. Did you know what? Do you know that in the beginning when Thomas is like, do you want to do the farm? And if you say no, the credits roll and the game is done.
That's it.
I love that.
It's very cute.
I love it. That's brilliant.
But yes, no.
I want to load up a new save just to do it.
It's fun. But no, that's it. My only other note there was that's a musical line. It's a reference. Sorry. It's a reference to a musical. I wrote a reference to a musical in the show notes because I'm listening to a lot of musicals. You're welcome. That's it. That's the whole story.
Okay. Well, one thing I want to talk about is the save system, because Micah, you mentioned it slightly earlier, but I thought it'd be good to bring up that this is a really good save system. Yeah. Right? So it solves the one real issue I had with the Doraemon Story of Seasons 1, and it's just the best save system I played in a farming game. So you have a bunch of save slots. I think is it like 10 or something?
I think it's 8.
8 of them. Yeah. 8 save slots, which is a lot to start with. The two good things I really like about it. One, it has an autosave as well, but that's like separate to the one. But that's how it worked with Doraemon, I think, as well. Like every so often it will just autosave. And so it means if you forget to save every so often, you can use your autosave, and you're probably not lost much, maybe a day.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just every morning, or
yes,
are there other
I would
times?
say it's worth noting that the autosave is every morning when you wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's kind of, for someone who has played Stardew, for example, that's what Stardew would do. Like there wasn't another way to save.
Mm-hmm.
But you can save manually as well, which is nice. But what really is nice is that when you click in and you want to save, it'll automatically select the last save slot you used, which is such a small thing, but
amazing.
Stops so much anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I would like to make...
Because the way that Doraemon worked is that it would always default to the top one. And so I would almost overwrite my save file every time I went to save.
I would like to make one small note on this, and that a complaint about a visual thing. It is really hard to distinguish which save file you're selecting versus not selecting. The difference is basically just a lighter or a darker color border, and I can never remember if it's the lighter one that I'm picking or the darker one that I'm picking. And I've messed that up.
Fair.
Like, let me tell you the number of times I've been in the mines and I load something, and then I'm back in my house and I'm like, well, I picked the wrong one. And so and so I have to load the other one again. That might just be a me thing, but I feel like they could have made that visually a little bit more distinctive. That's my one complaint.
I would agree with that. It's definitely, like Al said, a lot better than the save system in Doraemon. That was like a big gripe for me too, because whenever you wanted to do any of the, again, exploit or not, like whatever, whenever you wanted to like reload in the mine, you would have to, if I'm remembering correct, maybe I'm not remembering this correctly, but I thought you had to like force quit out of the game. Did you not? Or like go back to the title screen and then load?
I don't think so. No, you could load inside the game. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You might be thinking of a different one.
Yeah, maybe. I just remember in this, when that first happened, I was like, oh, I don't have to get all the way out of the game. I can just...
Yep, it is your first option every time you open your menu.
Yeah. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Save system good.
Agreed.
Way better than the Game Boy Advance version.
Absolutely.
It's so hard because it's like, I want to compare so much of it to the Game Boy Advance version, but there have been so many advances in just the genre in other games that like it's like I'm finding myself comparing it to things like Stardew or Doraemon or whatever, but also comparing it to the Game Boy Advance version, which is so completely outdated. So like it's really nice that things have changed from the Game Boy, like so many quality of life changes, but also maybe just the same amount of quality of life changes from like other farming sims in the last few years.
Yeah, which is part of why I think I said at the top of this, like, this may be the best remake of a game I've ever played. And I think that has a lot to do with it, where I feel like essentially what they've done is they've taken the game and almost completely remade it. Like the things that are the same are the characters and the setting, and the basic premise, but like all the mechanics, while they're the same mechanics you had before, like they're new and they're shiny and they're polished, and they made a remake of a really old game that feels like it could be a not remake and just a first release game from the modern times. And I think they did a really good job of that.
Totally. I agree.
Yeah. So I guess we're going to have to do the usual thing we do, which is all give a number that means nothing, but give us an indication as to whether we like this game or not.
On a scale of 1 to 8?
That sounds great this time. Who wants to go first?
On a scale of 1 to 8, I'm going to give this game... I was going to say joke rating, and then I started being serious, and now I'm like, well, now I have to think. Someone else go.
I would probably give it a 7. And I know that that's heavily biased in how much Friends of Mineral Town means to me personally. That it really like increases the rating for me if I had to force myself to not take that into account at all. I maybe like out of 8, like maybe a 6 or a 5. It's still a very, very good game, but it's like I said, it's as far as farming sims go, it's very kind of on par with what a lot of things have done. It's just the fact that it's Friends of Mineral Town is such an important factor for me. I am really only kind of knocking a point off of it because I as I said at the start, I love the Doraemon Story of Seasons art style, and I kind of wish that they had adopted that again, and they kind of, I don't know, it's just such a good art style. And I'm not like knocking this art style necessarily, I just don't like it as much as the Doraemon Story of Seasons. So
fair. That's fair. I think so. I think obviously, I don't have that nostalgic thing for this game. Coming into this, thinking of it purely as how is this a farming game compared to others, I'd probably give it a 6. I think 6 is fair. Like, it's a good farming game. It's not bad at all. I don't think it does anything special. I don't think it does anything that makes me go, wow. I seem to remember giving Doraemon a 7 out of 8 because it was just such a gorgeous game. So I think something has to do something really special to get a higher score than that.
Sure.
It's good. I'm going to play it. I'm going to keep playing it. It's a good game, but yeah, there's nothing special about it for me.
It's a really good farming game in the way that most modern farming sims are very good farming sims.
I think I'm going to give it like a 6.5. And part of that is that
there's always one.
I am that person, okay? But the reason is because I probably would give it closer to a 7, save that I have a few details, which I'll get to in a second. But I would give this a pretty high rating. I think I do agree that, like, to get a perfect score, it really should have like something that is the most special about it. And I don't think this is a knock on the game, but I think it kind of puts it in its place where what is special about this game is that it is a good remake of an old, very beloved game.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's worth something. Like, that should be noted. Like, that's why I'm not giving it a 6. Like, it should be noted that its thing is that it is a good remake that is a good game, which are, again, you would think those would be the same thing, but those are two different. I have played many a remake that were fine games, but not good remakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like,
and it's a remake too, and not like just a remaster, which is important because it's so much more effort. Absolutely. And I think that's worth a lot, and I think it's fantastically well done for that. And I think within its own category, it's great. It's great. It's amazing. In the broader field of things, I don't know if that's enough to like give it a perfect score. So it definitely doesn't get a perfect score in the broader field of things, which is why I'm not doing like a 7.5 or something. And and I think I would just dock it for a few things. I think there's a few little weird carryovers from old games. I had a weirdly hard time picking up things in the coop. Because just there's nothing to indicate where you're clicking, and I think that there's some wherever the selection range is in the visuals, there's no indication, and it's clearly not what I would expect it to be. Like, I feel like there's an issue there. Yes. In fact, you reminded me of a somewhat small but also persistent gripe that I have, in that when you have a lot of animals, especially in the barn, they tend to just clump in one area, and it's hard to like talk to the right animal or groom the right animal or milk the right cow. It's just so
that was going
frustrating.
to be my next point. And then when you go over into the barn, all of your cows are inside of each other, and it's really hard to get them out of each other. It's very strange.
There's zero collision, and it makes it very like weird and hard to
Yeah,
navigate.
it's very weird. And
So-
Al?
I was just going to say the way that I've dealt with that is before I go water, I know you don't water crops anymore, Rochelle, but
I do sometimes.
like what I would do is the first thing I do in the morning, assuming it's not raining, is just go ring the 2 bells. And by the time I've done what else I'm doing, I come back and they've all separated.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So if you ring the bells and you have grass growing for fodder out in your farm, your animals eat it. And then you can't grow it to harvest it. And you should be hand feeding your animals because you get extra friendship with them.
Just friendship grows eventually anyway. You're the one that keeps telling me not to speedrun games.
That would take more time. It takes more time to pull out fodder and then individually feed fodder to your animals. Thank you very much.
You don't have any more time in the game, though. You're just choosing to spend it differently.
Anyway, so you're not wrong, but also I'm going to finish my rating rant. So the animals have some weird hiccups, and I think it gets docked a little for that. I am going to dock it just a little bit. This is not something I normally care about, but it was noticeable because very specifically in winter, over by the bamboo forest, the game chugs really, really hard. Like, everything about it slows down just in that one area, just in winter. Aggressively noticeably so, and it's very strange. And I'm wondering if maybe it has something to do with like the animation of the bamboo on top of the graphics for winter, on top of maybe like it frequently is snowing or something. I don't know what it is, but it was just startlingly noticeable. And I don't normally care about stuff like that, but that was the only time I encountered that in the entire game. So
interesting. I don't think I've been really in that area too much. What area is this?
Okay, so when you go over to the mountain, right? So like if you go over to the lake, and then there's Jennifer's tent there, right? On the far left.
Yeah.
That area just south of Jennifer's tent, so where there's a whole bunch of bamboo sticking up, and it's the area right next to Jennifer's tent that you have to pass through it to get to Jennifer's tent. And then it's also on the other side. There's a little pathway where there's a little bamboo path and there's rocks there. And then once you get enough of a hammer, you can break the rocks and go to the far side of the lake where they'll have like rocks and a certain type of mushroom and stuff. And it's that area right there where all that bamboo is it's the southwest corner of the map, the very most southwest corner of the map. That's the place that chugs.
And this is winter, place. You said?
Yes.
Okay. I'm only 4 days into winter, and I haven't been over there, so I'll have to go over there and check that out, because up until now, weird. I haven't seen any, like, graphical hiccups, really.
Yeah, and that's why I note it, because that was the only time. And like I said, I've played 2 years worth of this game, except that I played 2 seasons twice. But that's a significant amount of time, and to have it only chug in that one area is weird.
Yeah.
So, and it might also be I have a Switch Lite. It might not be an issue on the bigger Switches. I don't know. So, y'all will have to experiment and tell me.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that there's some like graphical handoff that happens between like handheld and docked.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would be curious to see, I guess, maybe if it's just a difference between playing in handheld and playing docked.
Yeah. I don't know. So I'll knock it a little for that. I'll knock it for this is a classically very pale game.
Yeah.
I think you have Kai is the one black guy, and you can change the skin tone on your... So this is hard, because I want to give them a little bit of credit, because you can change your character's skin tone. But I don't think they deserve terribly much credit, because there's also exactly 3 skin tones, 2 of which are... You have me pale, and then regular pale, and then you have light-skinned tan black, kind of like ethnically ambiguous kind of a skin color. There's nothing on the darker skin tone range, and I think that's an omission they
Mediterranean almost, right? It's like technically not very northern white skin.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I would definitely classify that as
white.
Ethnically ambiguous. Where you're just like, are you a tan white person or a very pale, like any other kind of person. Not
Yeah.
quite
Yeah,
sure.
I've noticed- I've noticed this in a few games because I think was it a few Pokemon games have had that where it's like you can change your skin tone but not by much.
You can be, yes. And
It seems like an odd thing to put in all the effort to do that and implement that and then have almost no choice.
Yeah. So I wanted to note that specifically. On top of that, you can't there's exactly 4 styles you can pick. You can never change your eye or hair color. So you're either really blonde or really brown in your eyes and your hair. So, which is fine for me because I am a depressingly very light-skinned person with naturally blonde hair and blue eyes, which is frustrating. But it's probably very frustrating for a black person to be well, I have to be 3 skin tones paler than myself, and also I can't have hair that looks like mine, and I feel like they could have done better on that. So yeah. I would like to bring that up as a criticism, on top of the fact that in the entire cast there is exactly 1 person of color. Depending on how you read it, there's a lot of discussion to be had about a lot of when it's not obvious. So in a lot of games or anime and stuff, in the West we tend to assume paler skinned characters as white, where they would be assumed as not white
Japanese.
In other countries as Japanese or
Yeah.
Chinese or and I will say there are some for example, Huang is very clearly Chinese in this, so I will give them credit for that. But most of the cast, so I guess if you don't count Huang and Kai, most of the cast is kind of you're white or Japanese, I'm not sure. It depends on how you see things and what culture you're coming from. So there's not a lot of diversity in it, and I think that's worth noting. Which is to be expected.
Non-darker skin.
Yes.
I guess is the... Which is, I agree. It's not there's not really much of an excuse at this point, I feel like.
Yeah. I feel like...
And we keep having
it's
the same
2020.
discussion. It feels like most games are, every time we discuss them, we have this same problem with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's at what point is it going to change? Not,
Yeah. And I think especially, I know, I was talking to this with a friend of mine who kind of brought up the point that the argument to be made is probably, well, it's a remake and it's these beloved characters. And I'm like, I could not care less if you change the skin tone of one of these characters. That's all you had to do.
Right.
So,
or they introduced 2 new characters, both of them white.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So...
yeah, and even then, it is, we can say it's a remake and it's these characters that I knew from the Game Boy Advance game, but that's easy for me or us to say as non-people of color, but for a person of color who would maybe be playing this game or be interested in this game, they're not going to care if these are characters from the remake or not. It's just there's no representation.
Or even just people who are playing for the first time. I have a friend who's never played a farming game in her life, and she's playing this game. And it's she doesn't know. She doesn't care. She would be perfectly content if there were more people of color in this game.
Right.
So, I don't know. I just wanted to note that, and I think that's the big thing. I might have come close to giving it a perfect score because it is a really good game, but I don't think I could with that. I could overlook something I can overlook the weirdness with the animals and I can overlook the chugging, but I can't really overlook that.
Right. And it is definitely it's an oversight as a white man on my part to when I booted up the game and I saw that there was customization and I was like, oh wow, there's different skin tones than just white. It's still not quite the level of varying skin tone that it should be. But
1 step forward, 2 steps sideways.
Yeah.
We'll get there maybe. It ain't no trio of towns where there was a whole village of non-white people.
That's a really good point to bring up. Not that we want to branch out in another hour-long discussion, but that is a really good point to bring up. It's the same company that made these two games.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, it is worth noting that literally in the last main series game, they had half a dozen, I would probably say, like, Polynesian characters, without question. So what was the oversight in the next? Is it just that they didn't want to do it because there wasn't a fun gimmick? You know what I mean? Like, because the gimmick in Trio of Towns, which each town had its own cultural gimmick, so...
Yeah, I suspect it's probably a combination of that and the remake thing.
Right. Just like...
People don't like to stray too much from remakes.
Yeah. Because aside from the quality of life changes and how they've adjusted, so it's a pretty like faithful remake, even down to like how like I love the music, but like how repetitive the music can be.
Yes,
it's a very faithful remake in that regard. But you know, like Al pointed out, they added 2 new characters. There was opportunity for diversity that what
this reminds me of. This reminds me of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Because they did this exact same thing where you have this game series that has not fast enough, but very slowly kind of gotten better at like including more human diversity and like NPCs with different skin tones and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden it had this remake game that just didn't even question it and went back to what it was before, which was aggressively pale. Like in Lego, literally the only way there was a character of color in that is if you chose a darker skin tone. And it would be you and your mom. And that's it. And
yeah,
the comparison between what both series have done recently to this weird hang up that people have when they remake games is really noticeable and weird. And I don't like it. I'm making a face. I don't like it. So 6.5.
Cool.
Maybe I've argued myself down to a 6. We'll call it a 6. Okay.
An even 6.
I mean, if I thought you would actually ever follow this rule, I would put in a rule where we can't put 0.5s, but I know there's no point. So.
You know me. If you put in no 0.5s, I'll just start doing like 0.7s. So.
Yeah, you'll do them just because I said not to. I have one more thing I want to talk about. I am very disappointed in the naming choice for this game because I feel like they've copped out on the fact that they don't need to call it something new because it's not Harvest Moon in English, it's Story of Seasons. Therefore, let's just call it Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town. I wanted the return in the name. I think it would have been good.
For what? To be called Harvest Moon?
Well, so no. So in Japanese, it's called Harvest Moon Return to Mineral Town.
Oh, Return to Mineral Town. I see what you're saying.
But because it's not... Because obviously they still use the same Japanese name as they used to when the original game came out, but they now, in English, it's obviously not Harvest Moon anymore. So obviously they decided to call it Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town, rather than Story of Seasons, Return to Mineral Town.
I almost would say that, I would almost argue that calling it Friends of Mineral Town, at least in the West, was a benefit to them because I had seen so many people that were familiar with the Game Boy Advance game talk about it again, purely from like remembering the game based, that like remembering Friends of Mineral Town, and to the point where I saw a lot more. I mean, this like anytime Harvest Moon is discussed, I feel like that conversation about the IP and the difference between Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons pops up, but I saw it so much more in the release window of Friends of Mineral Town because so many people were unaware.
Yeah, I just don't think that calling it Story of Seasons Return to Mineral Town would have changed that at all. We still would have got that. People would still be confused about it, but it still would have had the positive press from being called Mineral Town, and it would have been a better name. Okay, so
is it my turn?
Yes, it's your turn.
Okay, so I actually think they probably did the better choice by calling it Mineral Town, because what they did is, I don't know if this is the actual reasoning for the localization team had, but this is what I would think it would be. First of all, you are playing on nostalgia. And I guess one thing that maybe should be noted for Al and listeners who are kind of newer to the genre is that Mineral Town is kind of like the quintessential Harvest Moon game. Like if as central as the Harvest Moon series is to the farming genre, that is what Mineral Town is to Harvest Moon. Like if anyone has played a Harvest Moon game, it is more than likely that they played Mineral Town. It is like the biggest game. And so they are getting the play from that. But if they had said Return to Mineral Town, they probably would have also gotten a lot of people who thought, is this a sequel? Am I going to be left out? Is something strange happening here? And might have been a bit confused. So you rope people in without you rope in the old people without sort of alienating the new people. And I think that's probably a good reasoning for why the name is what it is. And that would be my reasoning for keeping it that way.
I guess
it was me.
Yeah, Return to Mineral Town kind of implies that it's a sequel where...
Yeah.
I respect your opinion, but I disagree.
Understandable.
That's fine.
Understandable.
So,
have a great day.
if you agree with me, or if you want to talk about Zombies Run, you can tweet me on Twitter at Miss Delaney. Delaney has 2 L's, and if you spell it with 1 L, you'll talk to somebody different.
Oh.
True story.
I was not even aware of this.
There is a Miss Delaney with 1 L, and I think she's not me. I'm fairly confident she's not me.
You think she's not you?
I was going to say, like, I think she's a historian or something, and then I realized I literally don't know why I think that, so I probably shouldn't say it.
No, that's the new headcanon.
New headcanon. Miss Delaney with 1 L is a historian. Please do not harass her about it. Al, where can they find you?
If you want to agree with me or talk to me about what am I interested in right now?
Zombies Run?
No, not Zombies Run. I don't know, about what it's like to actually get some sleep. That would be nice to talk about. Or probably wouldn't be nice to talk about. Do not tweet me about what it's like to get lots of sleep. I will not like that. You can find me on Twitter at TheScottBot.
And what about you, Micah? Do you want to be found?
Yeah, sure. I have
no is also an option.
Not been tweeting as frequently as I used to.
That's
mostly
okay, neither have I.
For the sake of my own brain, but I am on Twitter at Micah the Brave, Micah. It is a commonly misspelled name.
Wait, how do they spell it?
Micha is a very common misspelling of my name.
Really?
Yes.
Have they never seen the name before?
Probably. I feel like especially in like having spent time on Twitch where people read your name but don't hear the pronunciation. When
That's
meeting you for the first time, I get a lot of people calling me Micah, which is interesting.
Oh, really? Interesting.
And I don't know why, because
the mispronunciation I can get. Maybe it's because I grew up going to church that I would see Micah quite a lot in the Bible and just know the spelling. I don't know. It doesn't seem like I would like Micha. I would like Micah or something.
Right.
Like
you'd think, but
it doesn't have to have a reasoning. As a person with a frequently misspelled name, as a person with 2 frequently misspelled names, I understand.
Let me tell you. You want to know why I go by Al? Because nobody ever misspells Al. Alistair, on the other hand, everybody misspells. I
mean, if it makes you feel any better, a lot of people, if they actually get somewhere near my name, and I'm not Rachel, or Michelle, or Michael.
Oh.
A lot of people will actually spell my name with an O. They'll say Raschelle, which
which
I've to be fair is a
a
city in New York, because in the musical Ragtime, one of the families lives in New Rochelle, New York. And it's ROCH, etc. And also, my name is not even the standard spelling for Raschelle, so sorry, not sorry.
Yes, I had to train my keyboard to get your name correct.
Just remember, it's got hell in the middle, so.
Wow, sorry for that tangent.
Sorry. So, go say hi to Micah. Do not bully Micah into playing Zombies Run, but also, if you want to harass Al and also talk to me at the same time, you can email us on our website, harvestseason.club. You can tweet us at THSpod. I think we have a Patreon or whatever. Until next time,
have a good harvest.
The Harvest Season is created by Raschelle Delaney and Al McKinley, with support from our pro farmer level patrons, Kevin and Stuart. Our art is done by Micah the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, harvestseason.club, for show notes and links to things we discussed in this episode. Thanks for listening! If you want to harass Al and also talk to me at the same time, you can email us on our website, harvestseason.club. You can tweet us at THSpod. I think we have a Patreon or whatever. Goodbye.
We do.
I hit all the notes, right?
I think.
Until next time.
Until next time. Have a good harvest.
Have a good harvest.
Have a good harvest.
Woo.
I missed it big time.
Perfect.
It's all right.
Perfect. It was beautiful.
We never get it. I always edit it to make it sound like
We did it.
Making us sound better than we are.
Wow, first try.
We did
Perfect.
We did it.
First